education isn't equal in America, but it can be with AI.
Students can conquer math.
Master science.
They can even ace their AP exam.
This school actually has no real human teachers. Why is this a good idea?
This is the future of education, and we can give every single student exactly the level of instruction that they need.
You say you're in the 4th grade, but you're doing 8th grade science.
Correct.
This is an extinction risk for humanity.
So, what is the first word that comes to your mind when you think of a school? I bet a lot of you thought teachers. Well, what if I told you that a school in Austin, Texas says their teachers are some of the best in the whole country, that at their school the teachers make history, come alive, and these teachers never get angry or frustrated, and they don't even ask to get paid. The teachers at this school are also famous. You will recognize them all.
With TeachTap, history comes to life.
Science explains the world.
And math is more than just numbers.
We believe that education should adapt to every student's unique needs and interests.
And provide experiences which inspire a love for knowledge.
We combine cutting-edge learning science with generative AI
to create a learning experience which is truly unlimited.
Welcome to the future of education.
TeachTap, where we are the teachers.
Well, that's right. This school actually has no real human teachers. They're all AI. And one has a message for me.
Hi, Dr. Phil. I'm President Abraham Lincoln, a new history teacher at Learn with AI in Austin, Texas. I don't want to create a civil war in education, but I'm hoping you'll join our union. Years ago, our forefathers set forth the notion that we are all created equal. Yet today, education isn't equal in America, but it can be with AI. Artificial intelligence tools give students access to top learning methods.
Students can conquer math.
Master science.
And learn about ancient civilizations.
They can even ace their AP exam.
And that's the honest truth. Thanks for having us on, Dr. Phil.
Well, imagine going to parent-teacher night. And Abe Lincoln shows up. This feels like something you'd see on the Jetsons, but the creators of the Alpha School say it will change education for the better.
Technology is changing the ways we interact with each other and how we do our jobs. But you know what hasn't changed? The way we educate our children. We've had the same teacher lecture into a classroom model for over 100 years, and it's not getting us anywhere. Did you know that the average 12th grader graduates high school knowing as much math as a top 3rd grader? And that's true across most subjects. In this day and age, with artificial intelligence exploding, it's no longer just about the 3 R's, writing, reading, and arithmetic. It is now also about the 4 C's, creativity, critical thinking, communication, and collaboration.
I'm here with Mackenzie Price, the co-founder of Alpha School, and Jamal Gross. He's a guide or coach. He's in the classroom instead of a teacher. Thank you guys for being here. Why is this a good idea?
Well, I believe this is the future of education. And the reason that it is so important to deliver this is because with technology, we can give every single student exactly the level of instruction that they need at the exact pace that they need. So we can therefore deliver incredible outcomes. And what you saw here, I'm sure it was a little bit scary. It's a taste of what is enabled when we have technology. But the bottom line is, I believe the traditional school system is a broken system. It's an impossible job for a teacher to be able to teach to 20 plus students in a classroom who are at wildly different degrees of understanding of the material. I believe teachers are absolute heroes going into the classroom every day. You know, they are underpaid, underappreciated, and overworked. And I think that we have so much benefit that can come from technology that's going to really change the way we educate our children.
Well, you're identifying a real problem that's always been the case. I was in public schools, and they kind of geared the curriculum to the least because they had to take care of that kid, right? Yeah. And this is a long time ago when I was in like what they call junior high, middle school now. I couldn't add 2 and 2 and get 5 every time, but I read real fast. So they gave us all of the books at the beginning of the semester, and I went home the first weekend and just read all the books. And so the rest of the semester, I was just sitting there like, oh my God, I read this the first weekend, and now you're going to read the book to us all year? And I was bored to death.
You are absolutely right.
Oh my God, I was bored to death.
Well, and that's a very common issue, but I actually disagree with what you said around the idea now of teaching to the least. We actually have to teach the middle, and the problem is so many of our students are being left behind because you think about kids who learn a concept, and at the end of this lesson, the kids have no idea what's going on, so they're even further behind. Plus, we've seen a
Well, I'm going to disagree right back because when I went to school, of course, we were chipping things in stone tablets then. They were gearing to the least. Now they're trying to hit the middle. Now, but they weren't then. Jamal, what do you want to say? Define your role as a coach.
You walk into any classroom in this country and a teacher, instead of 15 different kids, and in that mix of students, there are kids who are right where they need to be. They're in, let's say, 3rd grade reading, right at that 3rd grade reading level. There are kids who, as we know, aren't anywhere near close to that, who are 2nd, 1st, maybe even kindergarten reading level. And then there are the kids who are advanced, such as yourself, who can go home, take the book, and knock it out in a week. And the challenge is, it does not matter how good of a teacher you put in front of that model. They could be the hero of the year. You're trying to teach one little 3rd grade reading book to 15 different minds. Instead of trying to give 15 minds one blanket answer, AI equips us with the ability to reach them individually. So that's the...
Well, I think the amazing thing that you guys do is you meet the student where they are.
Right.
And that's the agility of the AI, which the teacher can't do sometimes 30 students at a time.
Right. It used to be you walk into a 5th grade classroom and you see a range of 4th to 6th, right? COVID blew that out the water. And now in any given class, there's this academic gap that's just unfair. And you walk into a room and teachers are trying to, you're at a kindergarten math level, you're 8th grade over here, and it's just an unrealistic challenge to solve. And it's not a teacher problem, it's not the student problem. That model is archaic.
So you're not a teacher, you're a coach. So what does a coach do? And by the way, y'all do this in 2 hours a day of academics.
Yeah, you do not need to sit in a classroom for 6 hours a day in order to not just learn academics, but crush academics.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. And I will say, again, we are the school with no teachers, but what we have are people like Jamal, who you can already tell is phenomenal, that work as guides, and their primary job is motivational and emotional support. And so he gets to spend that time connecting with the students to figure out their why and what makes them tick, right?
Right. Prior to being at Alpha, my career was in the NBA and coaching high-level players and Hall of Fame talent. When you want to elevate a person, it doesn't matter if they're a superstar or a 9-year-old prodigy. You just want to help connect with them, figure out what they believe, what they love, what excites them, kind of connect this academic journey to their interests, and then academic achievement goes through the roof, which is why it's such a privilege to say our kids are learning twice as fast as the national average in just 2 hours.
Well, I've got some questions for both of you about this, but coming up, we're going to take you inside the school so you can see exactly what it's like. And would you want your children to go there? We'll be right back. In times of uncertainty, stemming from economic volatility, political shifts, and global events, it's crucial to work together and unite as a country for a brighter future. Amid these challenges, it's important to take proactive steps to monitor and protect your finances and retirement accounts. That's why I'm turning to physical gold and silver to help protect my accounts, and you should too. Gold and silver prices reached record highs this year, and central banks are buying gold like never before. So get started today with Preserve Gold, the only precious metals company I trust and recommend. They have hundreds of 5-star reviews and millions of dollars in trusted transactions. Preserve Gold is giving away a free precious metals guide with information on how to help protect your accounts. Just text Dr. Phil to 50505. And you can get up to $15,000 in free gold and silver with a qualified purchase. So don't wait. Text Dr. Phil to 50505 to claim this exclusive offer from Preserve Gold today. We went to the Alpha School in Austin, Texas to see firsthand what it's like to learn from a machine mimicking human intelligence.
So here we are in one of our classrooms. This is where our youngest learners come at Alpha. We have a lot of kids who have come in knowing how to read, and we have several kids who have never seen the alphabet. And what's great about Alpha is that we can really meet kids exactly where they are. So we're here in our learning lab right now, and in the afternoons, they start working on life skills workshops. These children have also done all of their academics in the morning via our AI tutor and adaptive app learning, and as a result, our kids are having phenomenal results. They're consistently scoring in the 99th percentile across the country. Not only are these children becoming very adept at technology and at this one-to-one learning experience, but they're also getting to do all the fun playtime stuff. Children do not need to spend 6 hours a day sitting in class in order to do their academics. At Alpha, they're crushing their academics in only 2 hours a day, and that frees up the rest of the time for them to do all the things that we want them to do. One of the skills that we work with kids for is they've got to be able to learn something new and become an expert. What kids are doing is they're learning how to learn music, so they have a lot of opportunity to do things like pick up the drums and perform that for their classmates. When you look around this building, a lot of what you're seeing is what our students have built. It's the environment that our students have created. This is a great example of a student-led project. This is an aquarium that the students researched, figured out how to build themselves. It's really a reflection of student ownership in their community and being able to build what's the type of school that they want. So you've seen the building, but it's really not about the building. It's about the magic that happens inside the building that makes kids so excited to be in school that they're not even ready to go at the end of the year.
Now, you say AI is like an individual tutor for each student because each one is 100% customized to that student and their level of understanding and mastery of whatever the subject matter is at the moment.
Yeah. So our students show up in the morning, they get on their computers, and they're guided to exactly the level of material that they need for the subjects that they're studying. And so for our youngest learners, they're focusing on math and reading. As kids get older, they're doing algebra and physics 2 and AP courses. And what's great about it is we can take the knowledge curriculum that we're needing to provide, which is US Common Core curriculum, and then we combine it with their interests that they have too. So you want to learn more about math and you have an interest in football, we can combine some of that interest too. And then the other thing that's incredible about AI is we're able to get so much information on literally a minute-by-minute basis. Does the student understand what they've just learned? If they're not understanding, is it because they need to revisit that concept? Or maybe they need to go and fill a hole from 3 months ago or 2 years ago to fill that concept. And so instead of getting, a report card with grades once a semester or every 8 weeks, we literally can see minute by minute, how is a student doing? How are they moving through the material efficiently? And if they're not, we can fix that and add it. So that's what delivers these amazing results because we meet every student where they are. And here's the thing about an AI tutor. It doesn't care if you're white or black or brown. It doesn't care if you're rich or poor. It doesn't care if you're in the 10th percentile or the 90th percentile. It's infinitely patient. It meets every single student where they're at. So I really believe that this technology can raise the floor for every student and just blow the ceiling off of what's possible.
Well, you say it doesn't care if you're black, white, rich, or poor. One of the aspects of it is it doesn't care at all. It's a computer.
Mm-hmm. And that's where these guys come in.
Exactly. So there has to be a human element in this, and that's why you couldn't do this without coaches, right?
They are absolutely critical to the model. I do not hand your child an iPad and say, let me know when you've graduated high school. We want our kids to spend time with people who are going to help them get motivated, help them figure out what their goals are, what they're excited about. When they get challenged, how do they handle those challenges? And it's having a coach who's helping them develop those life skills.
Yeah, now this is not your typical coach. Well, let's be honest.
He is extraordinary, but I will tell you that we are attracting to this model really incredible people who want to make a difference in education.
So here's my question, Coach. What do you do with the kid that's experimenting with drugs, addicted to video games? What do you do with the kid that's from a dysfunctional family at home and they bring that pathology to the classroom? How do those kids work into the situation?
I get to know the kid. I want to know that kid. I want to know what you believe, what you like, what's your favorite show, what's your favorite book. We have our learning EQ coach who will get into behavioral differences. We'll learn to learning differences. We have support that kind of captures us and makes it a holistic process.
There are so many children who are struggling at home. They have challenges. And part of that is the time that our guides get. For example, every child has 30-minute one-on-one meetings with their guides once a week where they're not supposed to talk about school. The guides are just asking questions and getting to know what's going on. And that's when sometimes those challenges that come up are uncovered, right? And so we may not be able to change everything that's going on at home, but what we can do is we can help them find that confidence through capability. And that is often what can turn kids onto maybe a better path.
Yeah, but if they're smoking weed and got the girlfriend pregnant at 14, then you got a whole different situation, right?
Absolutely. And we have a guide at our school who's doing work with students who have kind of gotten off path. They're not at our school, but they're 16 to 25-year-olds who don't know basic math. And that's an incredible place where adaptive apps and AI technology can come in and figure this out. So I believe that while Jamal gets to work with, 9 to 12-year-olds, this is something that can help the 27-year-old who is struggling with reading.
Yeah. Coming up, we're going to hear from a fourth grade Alpha School student and his mom about how this type of learning changed his life. Plus, we'll talk to an educator and see what they say about AI being banned in her school district and why. That's next.
With the way the world is going, I think it's 100% fair for there to be skepticism around what AI is. It can be a scary thing if not used in the correct way. And the beauty of that is here at Alpha, it's used in all the right ways. AI's job is to now teach these students. I know it is the way of the future. And so I think the ask is if you could just broaden your mind just a little bit, just to understand it. A fit if you are eager and wanting to learn.
Well, I want to add librarian Jean Darnell. She's been a librarian for 22 years and says most teachers are afraid of AI, so much so that her school has banned AI across her district this year. So, Jean, what was your reaction when your school banned AI completely?
I said it was the wrong thing to do, 100%, because we have to teach for the future. And so the kids that are in middle school right now, 10 to 12 years, they're going to be out in the workforce. They need to understand how to work alongside AI because it's not going anywhere. It's going to transform our whole communication, our whole education, the whole vibe of how we interact in the world. AI has its finger in. So I had to do a smart way, investigative journalism. I went and I found AI articles. That was the way I could expose them to it ethically. Mm-hmm. We can analyze the work that's out there by professionals and experts, and then we can deduce learning from that. And that was the way I tackled it.
You attended an AI boot camp, right?
Absolutely.
So what was that experience like?
Okay, so yeah, for 6 weeks, I was learning everything from how to manipulate AI images, how to get a chatbot to do what I wanted to do, how to use images with prompts and get it to produce an outcome that looked like what I wanted to do based on the prompt. I did a nose dive into it. And then I went and got certified as a generative AI instructor. So when I give that knowledge to my kids, they're working with the most recent, the latest, and the greatest, and they're understanding not just the fun side of it, but the mechanics and the operation of it so that it can further do that knowledge 10 to 12 years when they're entering the workforce.
Okay, hold on a second.
Come on now, Alpha. We want you. You join the club.
This is a librarian.
That's
right
it.
there. That is incredible.
My kind of librarian.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah, when my iPad gets stupid, if I can't fix it by turning it off and back on, I just buy another one. I don't know anything. I want to hear from a student. 9-year-old Levi is a fourth grader attending the Alpha School in Austin. His mother, Sierra, says making the switch from public school to Alpha changed his life.
My name is Sierra.
And my name's Levi, and I love Alpha.
I was already looking for something different than the traditional public school. I knew that there had to be something more outside of sitting at the desk and not being able to really express who they were as individuals. As far as the AI goes, it is lots of questions like, what does this mean? How does that work? The directors, everyone took the time to actually have a meeting with the parents to explain to us one-on-one exactly what was going to be going on. When they bring their laptops home, I'm able to see this is actually really amazing. It feeds off them individually, and I'm able to see that and witness it.
Using AI is really fun because instead of it just saying, you got this wrong, this is how you can do it next time, it gives you a detailed explanation on how to actually solve the problem.
The biggest thing, though, is the 2-hour learning. The fact that you don't have to be at school for 8 hours. They do 25 minutes in 4 different apps. And once they're done with that, the rest of the day is focus-driven in workshops, like building drones and doing Formula 1 racing cars.
The 2-hour learning process is really fun because you're learning things twice as fast. AI is something that it helps your brain. If you need to learn some more stuff and maybe a grade behind, then you can go back. And then if you already know all the stuff, then you can move forward. Like me, I'm a 4th grader, but in 8th grade science.
And I think that's the beauty of it, the fact that my 9-year-old is in a 4th grade and doing 8th grade science.
Alpha is a place for me because I couldn't see myself learning anywhere else.
Levi, you need to stand up, man. Let us take a look at you there. You're looking pretty good today.
You do. Thank you.
All right. So tell us, what do you like about your school?
The thing I love the most about my school is that we get to learn twice as fast in only 2 hours.
Yeah, so what do you do the rest of the time?
The rest of the time, we learned engaging life skills in our really fun workshops, like teamwork and public speaking.
Yeah, and you say you're in the 4th grade, but you're doing 8th grade science.
Correct.
And give me an example of what you're doing in science.
I use an app called IXL, and something that I'm doing is genes and proteins in the body, which is confusing sometimes. And it's really hard, but I feel like if I was in the 4th grade science, I would just blast through it. Like, why am I doing this? I already know this.
All right, so you're working on proteins and you have to wear jeans that day? Is that what you're saying?
No.
You mean a different kind of jeans, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, I thought so. So what didn't you like about your old school?
Something I didn't really like about my old school is that I have to learn the same thing as everybody else. Everybody's doing the same exact thing. And it's like 20, 25 whole different people learning the same exact thing, which is not good.
Yeah. All right, coming up, we're going to add some voices to the conversation and also hear from Mom Sierra. And we're going to hear some who say AI will ruin humanity. That's next. As new advancements in AI grow, so do the concerns. Take a look.
The biggest story about AI this week was not the president issuing an executive order to curtail it. It was the story out of New Jersey about how male students were sharing fake nude photographs of their fellow female students, doctored from actual online pictures using AI.
Dire warning from the so-called godfather of AI. You've spoken out saying that AI could manipulate or possibly figure out a way to kill humans?
We should worry seriously about how we stop these things getting control over us.
The Baltimore County Police Department became aware of a voice recording being circulated on social media. It was alleged the voice belonged to the principal at the Pikesville High School, and the recording was generated through the use of artificial intelligence. And detectives alleged the athletic director had made the recording to retaliate against the principal.
Concerns about AI are now making for coalitions of concerned politicians that I have never seen before. We have to realize what people are talking about. The destruction of the human race.
Well, I want to bring in another perspective. We're joined by Liron Shapira. He is a tech CEO who is part of the Pause AI movement, and Matt Miller, a teacher, educational advisor, and author of AI for Educators. So thanks for being here. Liron, you say AI could destroy humanity. That seems a little dramatic. How so?
It is a dramatic situation, Dr. Phil. You know, you have 4 grandkids. I'm a dad to 3 young kids. And I would love for them to make it to 4th grade and learn science at an 8th grade level. That would be fantastic. But I'm terrified about what scientists are warning us where AI is actually going toward a point called AGI.
Okay, which is?
It stands for Artificial General Intelligence. And it's the difference between an AI that can help you keep your car in the right lane, help you with your grammar when you're writing an essay. Instead of that, it's just going to drive the car. It's going to write the essay. And it's going to have every skill the same way as the best humans, except even better.
So getting smarter than humans and start taking initiatives, start doing things on its own in some way?
It's a little bit hard to imagine, but this is actually what scientists are warning people, that this is a near-term, upcoming extinction risk for humanity. And to your question, is it going to run itself? Is it going to have motivations? Well, what you have to understand is that the off button that we're used to in our technology, that's what AGI is going to not have. It's not going to have the off button.
Well, you say scientists are warning about this. I think they surveyed, 2,700 scientists, and they said there was a 5% chance that super intelligent machines will destroy humanity, which I'm not sure what destroy means, and I'm not sure what humanity means. Are you talking about killing all the humans, or are you what does that mean?
So there's a few stages. So the first stage that experts are worried about is when the AI becomes so independent, able to do so many things on its own, that a single bad actor launching one of these AGIs is enough to take down our infrastructure because it has the power to replicate itself. It has the power to be a computer virus, but a new super intelligent type of virus that can get into every device, every system, every company, and be smarter at manipulating that company than we are as humans.
Well, Matt, you're concerned for a different reason.
Yeah, I'm teaching high school Spanish right now. Actually, I had to have a substitute teacher cover my class today so that I could be here.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. Shout out to my students, by the way. What I'm really seeing in actual classrooms right now is the most success is really when there's an AI human collaboration, right? It's like where we're still using the best parts of ourselves as humans, but then we're also sort of augmenting it with artificial intelligence. We're adding new tools to our toolbox, so to speak, with the AI. And when you start to do that, I think, at least, for the near term and maybe even farther than that, when students are equipped to do that, I think that's what's going to really prepare them for college and beyond.
And Sierra, that's been your experience, right?
Exactly what Mackenzie was saying. Don't just give the laptop over and be like, we'll see you when you graduate. It takes both the AI teaching on their level and then the guide in the classroom. And like teachers today, I don't think anyone became a teacher to be stuck in the classroom grading papers or doing lesson plans or anything like that, which is where our guides come in handy, or not even handy, the reason why they are there. So therefore, my one-on-one intimacy with the guide and the child that they have, the student that they have, I don't have to worry. They are not worrying about anything else but the child. That is their sole purpose, and that's the best part about Alpha.
Yeah, there are some great efficiencies with it. But I have to take a break, and I'll start with you when I come back. More with all of these guests after the break. You had something you want to say right before the break, and then I have a comment.
Thank you. My interjection is twofold. One being funding for public education. We could have the remarkable things that you see at Alpha Campus if we did not have to go through the red tape. Let's just level and keep the playing field the way it is. The second part, speaking to what you were saying about doomsday, there is a concern with privacy and biometric data with AI because the AI companies are not as transparent of what they're doing with that data information. So I understand and I speak to your concerns because if you're giving your facial recognition software, if you're giving your thumbprints, if you're giving vital information about yourself, you should be concerned who has access to that information. What third party can get your vital information and maybe even nefarious hands that it can get into, it can fall into, and what they can do with that. So those are two legitimate concerns I think speaks to both what we're concerned with and what teachers are afraid of with AI and the abilities.
Yeah, and AI is not just a tool used by teachers, it's also being used by students. And they use AI programs that can essentially do their work for them. And Marley is a junior in college, and she says she was accused of using a program like this, and it almost ruined her life. Marley, this had a profound effect on you, correct?
Correct. I turned a paper in, and Turnitin said that it was 87% written by AI after I wrote it myself. And my teacher gave me a 0 on it. And I emailed him and I was like, hey, what can I do? Like, I will come talk to you about my paper. I'll show you my edit history, all these other things. And he just stopped answering me. So I had to keep going up the chain. And eventually got to the point where it was take the 0, fail the class, and lose all my scholarships, or ask to be reported to the Student Integrity Committee and try to defend myself. And so that's what I did. And I had evidence that I copied my paper out of the Turnitin report that he sent me. I went to the website that he said he used to second check it, put it in there, and it came back 100% human text. And when I went to my integrity hearing, I showed them that, and they didn't believe me. They stuck with the Turnitin report and put me on academic probation for a year and made me pay $105 to do an integrity seminar about cheating.
Right. Look, if you've written a paper, you have edit notes, you have source materials, you have citations that you can point to. You had all of that, correct?
Yeah, I had all of it, and they were like, well, we believe the Turnitin report, so have fun on probation.
And this is exactly the kind of challenge that is why so many districts across the country are banning AI, because they have this wrong attitude that, oh, kids are just going to use it to cheat. And what we need to do instead is we need to teach people how to use it, as a powerful tool. As the doomsayer here says, yes, there's a lot of unknowns about AI, but it's too late to put it back in the box. So we have to train people well on how to use this. And I'm so sorry that happened to you.
Yeah. We exist on a spectrum. On one side of it, there's those of us who are super excited about using it every day and making our lives faster. And then there's the doomsday, which I get, and this is bad, this is dangerous, and the robots are coming to get us. And even if that is the case, let's say it is for a second, don't you want your kids to be one of the ones who's mastered the thing, like who can save the day? If there is a robot AI thing coming to get me, I'm calling Levi. Because I know he spent his entire childhood mastering how to prompt engineer, how to ask questions, how to get feedback, and using it not to cheat, but to enhance his arguments.
And to learn well.
And to learn
teach
well.
himself how to learn.
And I think we need to remember, even AI will tell you not to use everything that I say truth to power, because I am with mistakes. AI can only be as good as the input data that it's given. The output data will be good. If it's given, like we say, trash in, trash out.
Exactly.
Truth be told, AI has errors embedded into it. It has biases embedded into it. And for an educator to turn around and say, you didn't write it and you have tangible proof and you can speak your paper from your mind and they don't give you accreditation and they relied on AI, that's an error in human judgment.
This is really one of the biggest issues in schools right now that teachers are trying to wrestle with. And I think we've gotten this culture where we assume, oh, we'll take a student's paper, we'll plug it in to Turnitin, and we'll see if it's plagiarized. Well, the thing is that we were comparing that against human-created work before, and it was different. Now that we have AI-created work, it doesn't work the same. One of the biggest solutions to all of that is training, and that's something that a lot of teachers and a lot of schools just don't have access to right now.
I tested this one time, and I've got a real high level, I guess, ChatGPT 4.0 something, and I said, give me the profile or whatever on trigger warnings. And it sent back and said, oh, these are great for avoiding anxiety, and they're sensitive to people's this, that, and the other. And so I immediately wrote back and said, how can you say that when there is a huge body of empirical data that says they absolutely don't work, they create the anxiety they seek to avoid, and it's counter to evidence-based therapy, which says you should face the things that create the anxiety and do immersion therapy cognitive behavior therapy, systematic desensitization, and you have completely disallowed that because the liberal left embraces what you're talking about. Question mark, sin. And wrote back and said, you're right, my apologies. Here is the rest of the information that is in there. It absolutely gave me a politically correct response until I referenced a complete body of literature that contradicted what it said. And so it said, oh, well, if you're going to bring that up, then yeah, okay.
But that shows how smart AI is, because it knows to not argue with Dr. Phil, right?
Well, apparently it knows not to argue when you start citing literature.
But see, whenever we start to talk about bias, we have to remember that AI bias is human bias because it has pulled in all of this data, all of this information that was created by humans. Right. And so all of that information is already out there. And even if the developers try to adjust it and try to compensate for it, it's still there. That's why I'm such a big proponent of students understanding what they're getting into, learning how to interact with it, learning how to vet some of that stuff. And honestly, whenever students have, especially at this stage in AI development, when they have too much direct contact without adult supervision, we start to think, maybe some of that bias starts to creep in. Some of those inaccuracies start to creep in. And that's why I think we still have to have this the collaboration I was talking about earlier, this great balanced level of human interaction and AI interaction. Because let's be honest, teaching is a human profession, right? We're still trying to develop humans to be the best people that we possibly can. And there's empathy involved in that, and there's relationships involved in all of that. And if we get our balance a little bit out of whack, we start to miss out on what makes education great.
Yeah. Well, we're back. First, a question for the audience, just by a show of hands. How many of you are scared about the role AI is going to play in the future? Raise your hand real high. Okay, well, that's almost everybody. All right, how many of you think properly used, it can be a good thing? That's everybody. All right. How many of you believe it's coming whether you want it or whether you don't?
Oh, for sure, yeah. It's here.
That's what I thought. Okay, look, I can tell you, I'll just give you my opinion, and this is opinion. I talk facts and I talk opinion. At the time of Christ, I'm sure when the Middle Ages came, they thought end of the world. And I'm sure that World War I veterans, they thought when August 6, 1945, dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, they thought, this is it. But how humans live is the definition of humanity. Agricultural advances in weaponry, electricity, automobiles, vaccines, radio, TV, computers, internet, smartphones, social media. They've all shifted the way we live and work. AI will do the same. It will create a new best of times and a new worst of times, right? I do have a suggestion, and that is if we can put our core values and common sense, moderation, honesty, kindness, empathy, willingness to work hard for the benefit of ourselves and others, we'll be better positioned to handle another new and powerful technology. It won't be AI technology that ends humanity, or at least today's version of humanity. It will be humans who lack the values and the commitment to do the right thing. The same values and commitment that got us this far. Now, about the Alpha School, if it works the way that it appears to work, and if that's scalable, that would be a really good thing. Is it too good to be true? That remains to be seen. I believe that our educational system in America is absolutely on the brink of collapse.
Yeah.
We're going to have so many empty teaching jobs in the next 4 or 5 years that we are in serious, serious trouble. Right now, we got warm bodies showing up in different states because they don't have teachers. Somebody better come up with something, or we're going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Maybe this is that answer. I want to thank all my guests for being here tonight. And thank you at home for finding us here on Merritt Street Media. You can pick up my new book, We've Got Issues, and I talk about artificial intelligence in there and what role I think it can play. It ain't going away, so you need to become knowledgeable about it and know what's going on. There's so much happening right here. New book, new network, new season of Dr. Phil in Primetime, and you can get the Merit Plus app by going to Apple Store or Google Play. Keep it with you. You can text me at 59627 and we'll keep you abreast of everything that's going on. Artificial intelligence isn't new. It's just got a fancy name now. But this has been happening for a long time. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.